oftentimes we get so frustrated because, but yesterday you did this and yesterday you enjoyed this. But those individuals living with dementia aren't always living in the yesterday. They're living in today and in the moment. And sometimes their moment is 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, and that's okay. My father-in-law is living with dementia right now. And one thing that he is really enjoying doing, and even with my son, is listening to the music that he used to really enjoy when he was 25 and 30. And it's not what he did then, because he's a movie buff. Ever since I've known him, he's been a movie buff. He doesn't enjoy movies anymore because the processing has slowed down for him. And so the high speed, the effects that are happening now, it's coming at him too fast. It's too bright. It's too much. Yeah. Whereas he likes the slower, like the music that he used to enjoy back then, because he's able to connect to it and remember those memories, and he feels successful. I'm Stacy Jowett from Kingston. I am a recreation therapist, and currently I am a manager in long-term care in recreation. And I have worked with both Haley and Kim for many years. I don't even know how long, both in a group setting and supporting them with private clients. I got to know them both in, especially in the private setting, a little bit more into what they do when COVID hit, and having to support their private clients when we were in a hospital setting. While they facilitated their one-on-one sessions, I was able to support the clients from my end since they weren't allowed in the facility. So it was a really great opportunity for us to collaborate even further, just to see the clients that I served in a group setting with Haley and Kim in a different way. So it was really nice to see how they connected more deeply with the individual in a one-on-one setting. And then in the group setting, I've worked with both of them for many years, and we would do a variety of themes, and we would have, people of about 8 to 10 at a max, and working with a variety of different facilitators. And it's so lovely to work interprofessionally with a music therapist. I've worked for so many years in the field working with music entertainers, but to work with a music therapist has always it's been so much different, I guess, and so much nicer when trying to actually achieve goals and to continue on with goals with clients or residents. I've worked with seniors, most of them living with dementia, and now in long-term care. But it's been wonderful just to help them achieve goals, and it's been with individuals who've had a variety of different types of abilities and strengths, and so it's working on those abilities and strengths, and helping them reminisce or make choices when choices have been taken away from them, and just be able to carry that on from the music setting into other recreation, leisure type settings as well. So it's been always really great working with a music therapist.
I would have to agree. I think the feelings are mutual within the relationship. One of the things that both Kim and I are so passionate about, and we're integrating into Synergy, is the core pillar of building collaborative relationships. And that includes not only the relationships that we build therapeutically with our clients, but the relationships that we build with our interprofessional team members and the people that we're coming in contact with, whether that's a family member or, the people within our community, and how are we building these collaborative relationships in order to support and honor wellness. And I think it's special because both recreation and music, they have so many similarities in the ways that, we reach people in ways that they don't even anticipate they're experiencing some sort of therapy or experiencing, this journey toward their goals unless we make it plainly clear for them, especially in long-term care settings. It's just something that they are enjoying doing because we've taken the time on our back end to really learn more about who they are as people and to really take that hard work of formulating the specific clinical things away from their forefront and just being a part of that experience and getting to know that person and how they can build upon their abilities and strengths, like you said.
Yeah. And I think that's what's really special too about the collaborative relationships is that we have different lenses of the people that we work with. And so I really love when we get to collaborate with other professionals because I have this lens of what I get to see when I have an individual session. And then Stacy, when you and I got to collaborate and even some of those one-to-one sessions, you've known these individuals in a different capacity or for longer or maybe more nitty-gritty details that I'm still getting to learn about them. And so we can kind of lean on one another to work towards those shared goals and just create this well-rounded circle of care for the individuals that we're serving. We're all working towards that same goal of wellness. And
yeah,
absolutely. And I think too, when we work together, as you said, we see different things. And I always have had the advantage in a group setting as I know so much about the individual coming into them. And it's like, this person hasn't had a great sleep that night, or, you know what, they've just experienced this in their life, or we're doing some medication changes, we're seeing this, or this is what's going on. So I have that, day-to-day knowledge as to what is going on, that no matter how much of a background and history you do on the individual prior to getting to know them, you're not going to have that knowledge just because you would see them once a week or once every 3 days, 4 days. So it's really nice that when you come in, I can say, this is who we have today. This is what's going on. Here's a quick snapshot. Or it's, Mrs. Smith is in here today, and so I'm going to sit her on the opposite side of the room as Mr. Jones because there's something going on. But I know that I don't have to give you the details of it. They're still able to work towards their goals, but I've set the room up so it's in a safe environment for everyone, allowing the session still to move forward. So I think those are some of the nice little pieces. And even too, when you've been seeing people in the community and then they've come in, you've been able to carry that relationship forward as well, we've seen, right? So it's really nice to say, this is how the person was like 3 years ago. Moving forward, these are the goals, and we're able to continue that forward. So again, the continuum of care flips in a way, right? So it's really nice to have that full circle moment with residents, patients. It's great.
Yeah,
I agree.
Absolutely. I think for people that haven't had much experience with music therapy or recreation therapy, they might not understand, because a question that we get a lot as music therapists is, how is music therapeutic, or how can we use music as a therapeutic tool? I'm wondering if you could explain some of the ways that, recreation can be used as a therapeutic tool within long-term care or just in general in your experience.
Yeah, well, I think if we were one of the best examples that I have, to break it down, when I, support people over at the college who are just learning is, if you or I were to go to a movie, we don't think about it. We just go. We don't think about all of the basic steps, right? And so that is leisure. And those are the things we do in our spare time. Whereas when we have someone who needs extra support, one of the leisure education sessions I remember doing early on in my career was with adults with special needs. And we were going to see a Star Wars movie before, I think it was Star Wars Episode 1. So that doesn't give away my age, but that was what we were doing. And we asked the group, how are we going to get there? And you said, all ideas are on the table. And it was, well, we could take a boat, we could take a bus, we could take a plane, we could drive, we could walk. Perfect. These are all great ideas. Now let's figure this out, right? So we had to break all of those pieces down. And then it was, how do we budget for that? And then we spent, and I kid you not, 3 hours on how do we stand in line at the concession and then practice our orders, because some of the individuals would stand in line and then get out, wander, and then expect to get back in line. And knowing that episode 1 was going to be huge, that was a really big deal, right? So it was, you can't just jump out, you have to get in. So those are the pieces, right? How do you find out what's happening? So that's how we break down all of those little steps. So if we think about, wanting to incorporate music in, for some individuals, they've fallen into a situation, they need to support from a recreation therapist. Maybe they used to, a long time ago, play piano. A lot of people learn, their parents force them to take piano, sometimes be against their will, but they realize, wow, do you know what? That really calmed me down. I like the rhythm of how the keys feel under my fingers. Well, how am I going to do that? How can I replicate that calming sense where my anxiety is getting up, and how can I reduce my anxiety? So that's something that we would do, is where can we find a piano? Is it possible does the lending library have, like the music lending library, have a keyboard that we could do? Mm-hmm. If not, what about, technology? Is there a way that we can replicate that using an iPad? So those are different ways that a recreation therapist would help support that individual finding or modifying what their strengths, abilities, and interests are in order to be able to obtain the goal that they want.
Amazing.
Yes. And I just want to let you know, and the public will know soon enough when they do come on in our referral process. Our referral form right now actually draws inspiration from some of the recreation therapy intake forms out there for referral, which is really lovely, because that just highlights again how much connection, how much relation the two share in terms of how much they complement one another. Mm-hmm. And the things that we're looking at are very, very similar within our sessions. And it's just great to have that support from an interprofessional relationship like this one that we've created here.
This is a great relationship. Yeah. Yeah. And it is, and you think about in our own lives, how often is music, what we look for to soothe us. One of the interventions that I did when I was working on an adult mental health unit was we would do, how does music affect your mood? Mm-hmm. And so we would have, I would have different coloring modalities and, sheets of paper, and I would put on a variety of different types of music. So heavy metal, classical, pop, all variety of genres. And I would just have people close their eyes and listen to a song. And then I would, for like 2 minutes, or whatever. And then I would say, okay, pick up colors, pick up, your sheet, and just draw how the music makes you feel. Don't have like any preconceived notions as to what you're going to draw, but just draw. And then, put a number 1 or a number 3, whatever the song was. And so we wouldn't discuss the rationale for it beforehand. And then after, we would say, okay, so this was your heavy metal music. And let's look at your picture for number 1. This was this. And can you see? And oftentimes it would be, some people really hate country music, right? Other people love it. And the same thing with classical, whatnot. And it would be, look at the colors you chose, look at the spaces you chose, so we would look at the themes. And it's like, so if you're feeling happy, listen to, whatever that's keeping your mood elevated. But if you're down and you're sad, if you want to like stay in that mode and allow those feelings to come through, find something that maybe makes you feel and allow you to feel that. But if you're in there and you don't want to, try to find the music that has you picking brighter colors, bigger, more joyful themes, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's another thing we would do in rec therapy, is that mindfulness awareness as to what's in your surroundings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and really sounds like there's space to give those tools, right? Like even you said with the movies, giving those life skills or those tools mm-hmm. are the things that can carry outside of your programming and benefit quality of life and that advancement to goals. Yeah, lots of interconnection for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. So I wonder if you can give us just one tip, or if you have more, that's great too, for let's say a caregiver in the community who is taking care of an older adult in their home, their mom, their dad, their cousin, their uncle, brother, sister, whoever it is. What's one thing that they can do to connect with that person through leisure?
I think it's finding out where the person is in right at that moment. So for some people, if they're living with dementia, maybe what they enjoyed doing uh, 2 weeks ago isn't what they're enjoying doing now. So find out, maybe in cognitively right now they're living back when they were 30 or 40. And so when we do our intake, that's part of leisure histories. What did you enjoy doing? Maybe they enjoyed fishing back then, right? So it's reminiscing with them. Look through old photos and take that time uh, to look back and talk about, maybe the cottage, or playing baseball and coaching soccer with the kids. And even if they aren't doing that now, maybe they're living in the moment back then, and just be with them in that moment. Because I think oftentimes we get so frustrated because, but yesterday you did this, and yesterday you enjoyed this. But those individuals living with dementia aren't always living in the yesterday. They're living in today and in the moment. And sometimes their moment is 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, and that's okay. Um, my father-in-law is living with dementia right now, and one thing that he is really enjoying doing, and even with my son, is listening to the music that he used to really enjoy when he was 25 and 30. And it's not what he did then, because he's a movie buff. Ever since I've known him, he's been a movie buff. He doesn't enjoy movies anymore because the processing has slowed down for him. And so the high speed, the effects that are happening now, it's
Mhm.
coming at him too fast. It's too bright. It's too
Yeah.
much. Whereas he likes the slower, like the music that he used to enjoy back then, because he's able to connect to it and remember those memories, and he feels successful. So he and my son are going through, some of his old boxes, and he's saying to myself, "Oh, when I was in school, like when he was doing his PhD, these are the things I enjoyed doing, and oh, look at this. This was, oh, I had hair then." Like he's joking about those things, but he feels successful there. So I think those are things when we can support someone who's, at home and being the caregiver. If you can give them moments where they feel successful, to reminisce and to let them feel purposeful and meaningful in their engagement, I think you're winning, even if it's in that moment.